What's going on, guys? It's PokePond back with another video for you. Lots to talk about today. We're covering all of the price changes in the sealed market, everything good to buy right now from an investment or a collection standpoint on everything Sword and Shield, everything Scarlet and Violet. We're talking about New Era, Gen 10, everything that's coming. Action-packed episode. Make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. Let's get into it. Okay, let's start off this week's episode by talking about one of my favourite sets. We start off talking about it every single week because I honestly think it is probably the best, if not the second best set in all of Scarlet and Violet, and it's one of the best things that you can buy right now. It has performed so well out the gate since its release. There's been so many people that have not really believed in this product and have just been waiting to buy it, hoping that it's going to drop down to MSRP or retail price, and it's just really not done that. It just continues to climb up in price, and there's been a lot of people that have been very vocal from the start saying that it is bad to buy in. It's sort of here on the chart when it was like 250. They're like, oh, it's way too new of a set, you can't buy into it there, and it's just continued to ramp up in price. Those people are very quiet right now is all I can say. It is on an absolute tear, and week on week it just continues to climb up in value. There is so much demand behind this set. It is really something really monumental in the hobby. There's not really been a set like that has performed this well out of the gate. Certainly not for many years. And let's have a look at this then. So last week on the price chart, it was on a $313 average on TCG Player. Now it's up to $328 with some sales around about $340. So really just continuing to climb week on week, steady gains. Even though so many people were so vocal about the fact that it's only going to come down in price, there's no way it can keep going up, but it just continues to go up. Pokemon Company just really can't keep up with the demand with this set. I think even if they released a big wave tomorrow and it was on store shelves, you know, as of tomorrow, as booster boxes as well. How often are we actually seeing sealed booster boxes on shop shelves? I mean, yeah, you might get some other products like some blister packs, or you might get some sleeved blisters, or you might even get lucky and get a booster bundle or something. But how many stores are we actually seeing maintaining sealed Destined Rivals booster boxes? It's not that many. It's really not, and I think that's really what's driving up the price of these booster boxes. Just continuing to climb up in price and smash through all-time highs. Last sold on eBay US $380. Now you might ask me, oh, have I missed the boat? Is it too late for me to buy into Destined Rivals? Personally, no. I think that you can buy in at $380, you can buy in at $350, and you'll do fine. You just need to be willing to hold it. We say 2 years minimum on this channel as a worst case scenario. There's nothing to stop you selling it after 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, particularly if it goes up in price to a price point that you're happy with. Do not let anyone in this hobby dictate to you what you can or can't do with your money, your assets. Whatever you want to do, you can do. You can sell it for a loss if you want. Who cares? It's yours. You own it. If you've got the product, you've got the power. That's my new catchphrase. But yeah, you can basically do whatever you want. There's too many people that think that they're experts in this hobby. Some people that have been in this hobby for a very long time, longer than I've been in it, were telling me that I was mad for buying into Destined Rivals when it was like $200. They said I was mad, and I was buying multiples of them and telling people to buy multiples of them. And these are experienced people as well. And look what's gone on in the price chart here. It's gone up another 30% since then, and it's well in print. It will continue to be printed as well, but I just don't think they can keep up with the demand. Even if they drop loads tomorrow, like I said, I really don't think it's going to affect the price that much. It will just get eaten up by many people. There'll be people putting it away. There'll be people who are opening it. Opening it is such a huge part of the market. Not only do you have personal people opening it, so like your everyday collector, you're also getting all these big rip and shit businesses. Do you know how much they would love to get another big drop of Destined Rivals right now? They would eat through that product in days, and it would just disappear from shelves as quickly as it appeared. I guarantee it. So Destined Rivals, I think that you're fine to buy in at this price point. I do see it long term, so I'm talking 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, going way over $500 a box. I think that's pretty comfortable to say. More than likely, after that sort of time range, will probably be $600 to $800, I would say. Potentially a lot more than that. And that's what you really need to do. You need to zoom out on these kind of things. Yeah, you might get a load of big drops, and it may you may get a load sat on shelves, and the price just really drops back down to, I don't know, 250, 300 even. And yeah, you might have bought in at 350, and you're like, oh well, I've lost $50, but you haven't, because you haven't sold it. It's unrealized losses. If you're willing to hold for 2 years minimum, you will ride out any ebbs and flows, and there's nothing to say that it is going to drop down in value. It might just keep churning away like this, but I think that long term, it's pretty safe to say that in 2 years from now, 3 years from now, it's going to be worth more than that, in my opinion, and that's why I'm holding quite a bit of it. It's one of my favourite sets of the era. Yeah, fantastic. $380 on an auction as well, last sold on eBay US from yesterday, 29th of August. I'm going to have a look at UK prices as well. If you're new to the channel, I compare both UK and US markets for everything, so I can give you a good view on what's going on in the global market. I'm from the UK myself, but I'll always let you know plays going on in the US and the UK so that you can be well informed what's truly going on in the global market as we're seeing things really open up, and the Pokemon hobby, not just hobby, but the Pokemon economy is really becoming more and more international every year that goes on. You're seeing eBay make it easier for UK people to sell to US people and vice versa. And I think we are really moving towards a global marketplace over the next couple of years. So there you go. That's why we're looking at UK prices as well. But in the UK, 250 quid for a last sold for a Destined Rivals booster box, which I actually think is not a bad deal. I averaged out about 180 to 190 a box in pounds when I bought mine quite a while ago. So for 250 this much later on, I think that's quite undervalued at the moment. Yeah, you might see it reduce down in price, but why risk missing that play, to be honest, if you don't have any of it in your collection? Next, we're moving on to my other favourite set of the era, the holiday set, which is Prismatic Evolutions. I think that people are really sleeping on Prismatic Evolutions. I think deep down, we all know it's a fantastic set. People are just worried about the fact that there's just so much of it around. We've been saying ever since they started doing the Sam's Club drops, they started doing the Costco drops, and just product being available everywhere, we said that it's not going to dip below $100, and if it does, it'll be very temporary, and we're still seeing that. The price chart looks a bit deceiving. It's like, oh yeah, it's dropping down in price, but it's really not. Look, last sales, 2 for $104, $104, $100, $103, $105, 1 for $90, 7 for $100. These are all over the last few days, guys. These are all from yesterday, in fact. All of those, $100, $100, $100. Then we're going back to 2 days ago, $100, $100, $100. They are printing it into the ground. There's none of this, they're going to print it into the ground. This is it. This is them running at full capacity on Prismatic Evolutions, and it's not dipping below $100. We've called it for a long time. There are a lot of people, again, negative people. Everyone thinks they're the expert, saying, oh, it won't ever, it'll go to MSRP. Costco will have an unlimited supply of it. They are continually dropping it at Costco, Sam's Club, in these bundles. and it's just not going below $100. It is just holding, and I think at $100 it is a steal price, and that's why it's not dropping below there, because people like me, people like you, know that in the long term, where's Prismatic going to be in 2 years? Even if you're a naysayer and you honestly think that the price is going to drop down further, answer me this question: what will be the price in 3 years' time on Prismatic Evolutions? Will it be more than $100 or less than $100? I know which one I would put my money on, personally. Last sold in the US, $101 with a little bit of postage, $98 on a buy it now as well. Both new listings as well on buy it nows, so they were just bought out pretty much instantly, and that's what I'm saying. People just know $100 is a good price for this product right now. I hold quite a bit of it. I actually think it's one of the best buys at the moment, is to pick up Prismatic Evolutions for $100, or if you're in the UK, it's around about 105 to 110, with the PC ETB going for $230 right now. That's slowly creeping up there in price as well. We always comment and say be very cautious about investing into PC ETBs. No matter how many times I say it, I still always get people in the comments that again will disagree with what I say and say PC ETBs only ever go up and I don't know what I'm talking about. That is a very dangerous mindset to have. Past performance does not always guarantee future results, and PC ETBs have huge premium on them, meaning that the contents of them are kind of not justified by the cost. You have the premium because of the scarcity and the stamped card. Okay, products with a high premium are just more risky. That's as simple as it is. There's no argument about that. They just are, and if you don't feel that way, then I'm sorry, you are wrong. I'm not saying it won't continue to go up, it's just more risk in PC ETBs, so please be careful of that. We're going to very briefly skim over Black Bolt and White Flare. I feel like we need to talk about it just because it's the newest set that's out and we kind of don't really talk about it. Not really much is going on in the price point with it. It does look like the Black Bolt ETB is slightly more expensive than the White Flare. My experience from here in the EU is that there's more White Flare product around, particularly with the ETB. I'm not sure why. I've not actually ever seen any Black Bolt ETBs in the wild, but I've seen quite a few White Flares. Don't know if that's something to go by or not, but just an observation that I've made here just in the EU. Price is just a little bit over retail, $87, $90, $90. Kind of a bit of a lackluster set in my opinion, not because of the cards that are in it. I think that the cards and the art is fairly decent, but we kind of predicted it to have a bit less demand than some of the other products that have come out recently, like your Prismatic Evolutions, your 151, some of the other holiday sets that have come out, purely just because not as many people have that nostalgic connection to the Gen 5 era. And you'll find that a lot of the sets that perform really well long term with sealed product have those big Gen 1 or Gen 2 chase cards. Just because there's more of the market sort of has that nostalgic feeling around them. I'm not saying Gen 5 is bad. I'm not saying it doesn't have a target audience. I also think as well that Black Bolt White Flare is not a bad buy if you can pick it up for a roundabout retail price. I wouldn't pay these over retail prices like on TCG Player, but if you find it in the wild for retail price, I've got some behind me. I'm not showing it right now though. We've changed the camera settings a little bit. I've got a box of White Flare ETB up there as well, just the one. I've got a couple of bundles that I picked up for retail as well. I think long term it will do fine as a set, and I think it will continue to grow up in price. I just think right now I wouldn't pay a premium on it over retail, but if you see it for retail, I think it's a good cop for that price. White Flare is similar sort of price, maybe even a little bit cheaper, just chilling at just over retail price, $78 for White Flare. There's one going for $76. Not too bad of a buy. Like I said, if you see it in the wild, I don't think it's a bad pickup. Let's move on though. Journey Together. Journey Together is at a really weird point at the moment where Journey Together is, or was last week, at around about the $260 range. Now the sort of mid boxes in Scarlet and Violet are all about $240 now, and I said that Journey Together was slightly overpriced last week at $260, and we're actually seeing that come true this week. We're seeing a bit of a price correction down, and we're seeing this week it's now at $244. Two selling for $246. I think that's about where it should be. In fact, last week I'm almost certain I said that it should be around $240 to $245, and we're seeing that exactly play out this week. I think we called the market just right. I do think that it will go to $260. I just feel like when you're looking at the price of it compared to some of the other Scarlet and Violet sets, it should be right there in the middle right now. Now, I'm not saying it's a middle set for Scarlet and Violet. I think, again, in time it will do fine. I think it's mid to higher end. However, it's just so new, and the demand in the hobby is so much like on other things at the moment. I think that 260 was just a little bit too expensive for it last week. So we're seeing it come down a little bit to around about that 240, 245 range, which I think is a nice price for it and not a bad pickup for that kind of price point at the moment. The enhanced version last sold in the US for $234. Like I said, that puts it at sort of like mid to cheap for the Scarlet and Violet era, so I think that's a pretty decent buy for that price point, especially for the enhanced version with the box topper. If you're not aware, if it has a little red tab here, it comes with an extra promo card inside it as well, and they're slightly more desirable as sets. They are quite common in the US to get the enhanced version, and they're a lot rarer here in Europe to get the enhanced version. Most of the European ones are just plain here. Like this. So eBay US plain one going for £177, and you can see multiple selling here that are not enhanced version, and you have to scroll through quite a few sales, let's see, to find an enhanced one. Here you go, and the enhanced version is going for £209. But for around about that 170 range, I think that that's a very fair price for it. It's just a little bit over retail price. I own a little bit of Journey Together, and I think it's just, again, a long-term hold it for a couple of years, and I'll have no problem selling it in a couple of years time as well. I'll be very happy once it sort of reaches £250 to £300 range. I'll be quite happy to move it on then, take a nice bit of profit on the table, because I'm not too attached to that set either, and we'll just roll that into some other product and buy some other product, probably for retail price. We'll probably be quite deep into the Gen 10 era then, probably be towards the mid to second half of Gen 10 by that time, and I'm sure they'll have some good sets coming out then, so I'm sure that'll be the time where I liquidate some of my less desirable Scarlet and Violet boxes that I'm not holding for the long term, the 5+, 10+ years. I'll be quite happy to move Journey Together in a couple of years time. Let's then have a look at Twilight Masquerade. Twilight Masquerade is at an all-time high and continuing to slowly climb up in price. Last week the average price point was $280, and now it's right there on that $300 price point. It's very interesting to bear in mind that a couple of months ago, 2 to 3 months ago, you had sets from Sword and Shield era like Brilliant Stars and Silver Tempest that were struggling to break that $300 mark. Now we're seeing stuff like Twilight Masquerade still in print right on that $300 price point and trying to break through it. It's just an interesting observation to make how fast some of these Scarlet and Violet boxes are moving. Make of that as you will, but like I said, as long as you're willing to hold it for the long haul, I think that Twilight Masquerade is going to be quite a desirable box in the future. It's quite iconic with its colorings and stuff like that. And you've got obviously the Big Chase Greninja card, which I think will be one of the top 10 cards of the era. So I think that Twilight Masquerade is a decent play right now, and we're just seeing it steadily increase in value, which is really strong. If we zoom out on the year chart, you can just see real nice steady growth going up on Twilight Masquerade. A fairly safe investment in my opinion, even at that $300 price range. It's still possible to get reprinted, but we'll be rotating out of print not too long in the future, so I think that it will continue to slowly creep up in price. It might have a big volatile move to the upside if people start making plays on it, particularly in about a year's time when we're almost certain that it's going to be out of print. I don't know. We'll have to see if something like that comes. It's obviously very hard to predict those big buyouts and those big volatile plays. But even if that doesn't happen, I expect it to just continually grow at a decent rate. I mean, it's up 20% over the last 3 months, which is really, really solid for it. Let's do a price comparison of percentage change. So last week it was averaging 280, so it's up $20 on 280. About a 7% price rise on Twilight Masquerade for this week, which is pretty healthy. I wouldn't expect it to do 7% every week, but I expect it to slowly sort of average out over the long haul. 2 to 3% a week probably averaging, I think is quite a good metric for Twilight Masquerade. I think it's a pretty safe play at the moment and still quite undervalued in the grand scheme of things. I mean, are we saying that Twilight Masquerade is never going to go to $200 a box? Sorry, $500 a box? $500 a box will be nearly double in value. If it doubles in value and gets to $500 a box within a couple of years, I think that that's a good play, and that's how you need to look at these things. Now, obviously, nothing is guaranteed. We are all investing in shiny cardboard. I have to say that disclaimer. But I think it's a good play. I think that it's going to be a $500 box in the future, potentially a lot more than that, given enough time to run and given enough demand in the market. But make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity, because every week I will be tracking all of these products for you so that you can be aware of everything that's going on in the market, so that you don't have to track all these products every week. You can just put me on once a week, put me on podcast style. Maybe you're doing some jobs or something in the background, and you can just listen to me and my beautiful tones, and we will just soothe you to sleep with our sealed price comparisons. But no, we'll let you know when anything's breaking out in the market. I'll always let you know what I think are the best buys right now as well in the market. Last sold in the UK, £234, really creeping up there, both at all-time highs in both markets, and just real steady growth, which is what we want to see for our sets. Paldea Evolved, similar story, really breaking out ahead of Twilight Masquerade as it's a bit more popular, but again, just sort of steady growths, up 33% over the last 3 months, and over the last year it's up 175%. That's nuts. I mean, it looks like it's just ramping up. I think more and more people are starting to FOMO into Paldea Evolved and really starting to realize that this is going to be one of the stronger sets of Scarlet and Violet, and they're probably not going to make any more of it. It is possible they might print more now, but I don't think it's going to affect the price that much more. Last sold on TCG Player, $419, so it smashed through that $400 price point. Last week it was averaging $367. Let's just calculate that out. Obviously, you can't read too much into it because it's just 2 price points, one of them being an average from last week, one of them just being a last sold. And that last sold is quite a bit above everything else. Although, a couple of sales there from yesterday as well, around about 409, 401, 400. You could see it live moving there. Literally from yesterday, you were getting sales of 381, then it crept up to 397, 400, 401, 410, now 420. It's just getting bought out. More and more people are just feeding the snowball, as I like to call it. As the snowball's rolling downhill, it's just getting faster and bigger and bigger. And I feel like that's what's going with Paldea Evolved at the moment. It's really getting that hype behind it. And it's actually performing really well for a set that's still in print. To think that it's $420 right now. Let's do a price comparison before I get distracted. So what was it, 420, just under 420, so 419, 367. Trying to do maths this early in the morning is hard. So what's that, 33, 32, $52 on 52 on 367. Let's check that out. 52 on 367. 14% price rise on Powder Evolved in the last 7 days. It's starting to go a bit more parabolic on the price charts, which is really accelerating the price at the moment. Last sold on eBay US, $400 on a buy it now. That's so strong. That is an all-time high by quite a bit. Really starting to ramp up. Last sold in the UK, 276, new listing tag. Someone bought it out instantly for 276. They knew that was a good deal. See, this is the thing. There's deals to be had. Look at the difference in price between two buy it nows on the same day. You can save yourself money and you can pounce on stuff when it gets uploaded if you know your prices. If you subscribe down below, I will keep you up to date with all of those prices. It's as simple as that. Give me an hour of your time once a week and I will tell you everything that's going on in the sealed market. Everything. There's no one else that's sat here every week. Maybe there's one or two people, but I personally don't know them. My idols in the YouTube space, the people that I really looked up to a year ago, 2 years ago, when I was starting this channel, they weren't doing this. They weren't going through every single set, every single week, letting you know every single play. And that's why I made this channel, because I felt like I could provide a service that no one else is doing. We can do this analysis every single week and let you know about everything. It is so easy for so many creators to tell you, oh, you know, 151's going up in price. You should all buy 151. Well, yeah, obviously 151 is a good play. Look at what it's doing on the price charts. It's up 45% in the last 3 months. We all know 151's going up in price. But who's telling you what's going on with everything else? Literally everything. Look at this. Every single tab we've got here is a play that I'm going to tell you about right now. That's all we do. We're all about the plays here. Make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. If you've got the product, you've got the power. Let's then have a look at 151. 151 is on an absolute tear right now. The prices are going insane. The booster bundles are going sky high. The ETBs are hitting all-time high. I think people are realizing we're not getting any more 151, particularly not any more 151 ETBs. The PC ETBs have gone nuts as well, but again, be cautious with them. $322 last week for the ETB is now up to $340. Another one going for $347. So $340 last sold to $322, $18 on $322. Let's do that. 18 on $322. Up a little light, 5.5%. It's so funny when we're talking about stuff now that a 5.5% price rise in 7 days seems like, oh, it's just something light. Do you know what I mean? We are so spoiled, not just in where we are in the market, but just in this hobby in general and in sealed in general. I need to let all of you guys be aware of something, okay? If you found this channel and if you've made it this far through the video, and even more so if you're subscribed, you are part of such a small decimal of a percentage of the hobby that's actually aware on this kind of level on what's going on with sealed product, okay? Even though we are broadcasting this out to thousands of people, even though there's other creators that are talking about this as well, the Pokemon hobby is so large that we are still such a tiny, minuscule percentage of this hobby that we make almost no difference to the price. We could buy out everything we could afford. All of us, all of you subscribers, all of you viewers right now, we could all buy the same product right now and it will barely affect the market. In 7 days, it will just bounce back to where it would have been. We really are so fortunate in this hobby, not just for the fact that we have amazing products, amazing growth on products, but that we are some of those lucky few that have just worked out that sealed is the play. It's so simple, it really is. Sealed just continues to burn and burn and burn up in price, and people are starting to wake up to it slowly they are. We might be a vocal group of people, we might make YouTube videos and broadcast it across the internet, but we are a minority. We are a very vocal minority in the hobby, and we're hated by a lot of people, but it's not about that. They don't understand that we are such a small part of the hobby. My point I wanted to make is, if you got to this point in this video, you are already so far ahead of everyone else in the hobby when it comes to sealed. You really are. You really are. We are so fortunate. 151 up 5% in 7 days. I'll put things into perspective real quickly. My savings account at my bank is offering me just over 4% interest in a year. 151 is doing more than that in 7 days. And it's going to have another big run. I'm calling it now. 151 is going to have a historic run. It is going to run up so much over the next year or two. And you won't have to wait a year or two either. It's literally happening right now. You can see it happening now. Last sold in eBay US. Sorry, losing my words. Look at this, $400. That's so much over market price. But there you go, all-time high. A normal, not even PC ETB, a normal 151 ETB is going now for $400. I know that that's an out there price, but someone just paid that yesterday. $400, nuts. 151 is on a tear. Last sold in the UK, 286 quid, new listing, bought out straight away. Someone just knew that was a good one to buy. Oh, they got out on one bid. It was on an auction. But with a new listing tab on an auction. Does that mean there was one bid and then it got bought out because there was buyout as well? Or does that mean it was just on like a short auction? Like someone did like a 24-hour auction and only one person saw it and jumped on it? Perhaps. Either way, I think someone got a really good deal there. 151 ETBs at an all-time high. PC ETBs going for 669 quid. Nice. Let's move on then. Paldean Fates. Paldean Fates, I think, will follow in the footsteps of 151 given enough time. It is a fantastic set. Two of the best cards in the era. I've called it every single week going forward. It's one of my favourite sets. I really love Paldean Fates. I love the theming of the ETB as well. Last week it was at 220. This week it's at 237. So it's creeping up there in price. 17 on 220. Up 7.7% in the last 7 days. I think it's just going to continue to run. I'd be very surprised if you see any more Paldean Fates ETBs. I think that's it now. I think the ETBs are out of print. Even if they do drop some, it will be a minimal amount and they'll just get eaten up straight away. If you're lucky enough to ever see one out in the wild, buy as many as you can. Let's talk then briefly about Temporal Forces. I'm going to put Temporal Forces and Paradox Rift into the same category now. I've been warning people over the last few weeks that there's a lot of supply of Temporal Forces and Paradox Rift for below retail in the EU. I can confirm that that is now sold out on Pokemon Center UK. So you are a little bit safer for buying these price points in the US. Temporal Forces and Paradox Rift are there at the cheaper end now of some of the sets in Scarlet and Violet. Temporal's actually up there. Actually, it's climbing. Let's have a look then. So last week it was averaging 232. Now it's up there to 248. 250. I think that's a little bit overpriced for Temporal Forces. I would personally put Temporal Forces around about the 235 to 240 range right now. Again, I think it will get up to that 250, 260 range, probably even $300 range plus, given enough time. But where the market is right now, I think that Temporal and Paradox should be at the lower end of the average prices of all of the Scarlet and Violet boxes right now. And for 250, I think that that's a little bit overpriced. We'll talk about this set in a minute, but I'll briefly talk about it to show you what my thinking is and where my perspective is. So, Surging Sparks. I would put Surging Sparks as a better set than Temporal Forces, and Surging Sparks is now the same price. Surgeon Sparks is 250. Now that tells me that Surgeon Sparks is probably a little bit underpriced. We'll talk about Surgeon Sparks in a minute. We'll do a full analysis. We'll get to it. And I think temporals are a little bit overpriced. Not by much. I'm talking about like $20 either way. So if temporal goes down another 20 to around about that 230 range, 235, and Surgeon should be probably about $20 more. That's just where I see the market right now. I think temporals are a little bit overpriced at 250, but it is going up in price, so we'll keep an eye on it. Paradox Rift has had a little bit of a run up in price as well over the last couple of weeks. Last week it was 221. Now it's going for 250. Again, I think 250 is a little bit too expensive for Paradox Rift. In time, it might be fine. Now, there's a lot of people that will say, yeah, but Paradox Rift should be more than Temporal Forces because Paradox Rift will go out of rotation before Temporal Force, blah, blah, blah. I think we're reading too much into it, guys. I think that where the sets are right now in the market, I'm not talking about in 2 years, I'm not talking about in 3 years. I think where they are right now, I think Temporal and Paradox should be at the lower end of the average price. 230, 240. Like I said, if Surgeon Sparks is at 250, I don't think Paradox Rift should be at 250 right now. There's a lot of people that will disagree with me, but I'm just giving you my opinion. That's what this channel is all about. So we give you the information so that you can make your own opinion. So that when you see things in the market, you can know what's a good deal straight away. And it's all about your gut feeling as well. And part of it's about collecting too. It's not all about investing. It's about what boxes do you want in your collection. I personally own 0 Paradox Rift right now. Nothing. Not even a single booster pack of Paradox Rift because I don't like the set. And that's okay. It's okay if it's your favourite set or you love it or you think I'm stupid for not owning it. I own so much Pokemon product and so much sealed product that I can't own everything. I have to prioritize things that I like as well, not just things that I think will do well long term. So I personally own no Paradox Rift. I don't think it's bad if you own it. I just think that there's better plays at 250 for your money. For example, Surgeon Sparks at 250 I think is quite undervalued. Or I don't know, to be honest, for 250 guys, I think I'd rather just have 2 prismatic ETBs and some change. Just me personally. There we go, Surgeon Sparks. I didn't actually know that that was queued up as the next set, but very convenient. Kind of holding at around about this 250 mark and has been for a while. Like I said, I think it's a little bit underpriced. It's at an all-time high at 250. This 250 was a sale from today, but you're seeing multiple sales today as well for 240. I think for 240, that puts it at one of the cheapest sets in the Scarlet and Violet era. I don't think it's justified. I really don't. Yes, we are seeing Costco drops at the moment of the ETB in the bundle, but we're not seeing many booster boxes around. And we're not seeing many booster boxes in general for the Scarlet and Violet era. I don't know. It's a very interesting time for booster boxes. I think that they are becoming increasingly hard to get because I feel like a lot of smaller stores like LCSs and stuff like that would much rather not sell you a booster box. They would much rather either cut the wrap so that you can't scalp it, even though I don't really know why. I think if someone wants to buy a product, they can do what they want with it. Or more commonly, they'll just open it themselves and sell it as single packs. Very rarely nowadays do you get LCSs that will sell you a full booster box for retail price. They might sell it to you for more in the future. And I think that is going to become more common going forward until they run into hot water. And they will run into hot water because there will come a time where the bubble will burst. And I say that in inverted commas because really the bubble never bursts. And that's the real secret with sealed product. There's so many people that talk about the market crash and when it's going to happen. It doesn't really ever happen. What happens is things just cool off a little bit. And what usually happens, and what has happened most of the time, is it happens when the era changes. And the products don't crash. What happens is the stuff that's overpriced and really doesn't have the real demand behind it, so the sets that aren't the best in the previous era tend to cool off and price correct a little bit. The sets that are highly desirable, the top 3, top 5 sets of the era, never cool off. They will just continue to climb up in price. Where the crash comes from is on the new stuff. The new stuff is always what you've got to look at with the sealed. Is the new stuff sitting around? Because if the new stuff is sitting around for a while, businesses can't afford to have that. They need to free up that money. They can't have that money locked in product. That's the advantage that you have as a collector or an investor. You have the time. You can tie up your money in products for years until you see gains. Stores can't do that. And that's where the crash will come. The crash will come in the new product. The crash will come when Gen 10 releases in 2026, 2027, whenever that is. I mean, end of 2026, probably. Beginning of 2027, maybe. When the new era starts, whatever the new era is called, the 10th generation of Pokemon, it's going to be all new Pokemon that come out. Generally, it takes a while for people to adapt to it and want to buy it. They overprint base, like always, and it just sits. But all the time when that's happening, people are still burning and turning and obsessed with the previous era. It happened with Sun and Moon. It happened with Sword and Shield. I think it will happen with Scarlet and Violet as well. When they bring out the new era of product, I predict this now. Base set will come out and there won't be a huge amount of demand for it. It will sit on shelves and then it will get discounted and it will be sub retail. It will be sub MSRP and sat on shelves for below retail, and you'll be able to pick it up for months and months and months below retail. You'll get crazy bargains on it. That's the time to move into stuff and sit on it for a while. Look at how base set Sun and Moon's doing now. Look at how base set Scarlet and Violet's doing now. It's not that these sets are bad. It's just when they come out, there's just not the massive demand for them. There's really not. And I think that base set will sit, set 2 will sit, set 3 will sit, and it will take a little bit of time for people to adjust to the new era. And while all of that is happening, what's going to be happening with the Scarlet and Violet boxes? They'll all be going out of print. Everyone's going to be focused on Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield. Everyone's going to be trading in Prismatic 151. That stuff is never going to cool off. That's just going to keep going, just like how Sword and Shield has kept going now. That's the real truth of the sealed in the hobby. And I wanted to put that nugget out there for people that don't know that yet, halfway through a video. I've been thinking about saying it for a while, but I really wanted to put it halfway through a video so that only the real people who are listening to the full thing, who are really paying attention, hear that. You should be rewarded for spending this much time and effort in paying attention to sealed, and it will pay off, I guarantee. Obviously, whenever I say, I have to do a disclaimer every time I say I guarantee. Nothing is guaranteed. It is all shiny cardboard. Don't invest anything you can't afford to lose. However, more than likely, this is all going to go up and continue to go up as well. Scarlet and Violet really is a great era. Last sold on eBay US. God, we went on a tangent there. This is going to be another hour-long episode. I know it already. It always happens because I get talking, guys. If you're not aware, I don't cut these videos. Unless I sneeze, I don't cut. I don't have any water. We just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. I can just do it. I don't know why. It's a skill I never used to have, but we developed it over time. Last sold in eBay US. I don't know why I can never say that sentence. Last sold on eBay US, $245. I think that's such a good buy. If Temporal and Paradox are like 250, 260, there's no way Surgeon for 250 is not a good buy. Last sold in the UK, 250 quid. Again, pretty decent buy. I like Surgeon Sparks. I own a little bit of it. I might buy more of it. We'll see. Now, let's move on to the big boys, the Sword and Shield boxes. And before I go straight into Evolving Skies, I need to make something clear for the newer people on the channel. For the newer people on the channel, you might think, oh, these Sword and Shield boxes, they're way out of my price range. Why does he keep talking about them? Because we've been doing this and been pointing out plays for nearly 2 years now on the channel. And you've got to understand that the people that have been here from the beginning, they were buying these Evolving Skies boxes for $300. It wasn't out of their price point. Fusion Strike, for 6 to 8 months, I was telling people to buy it for retail. It was on Pokemon Center for retail, and I was screaming at people to buy it. So although the prices seem ridiculous now for stuff like Evolving Skies, it's not a case of the rich get richer. It's not I'm focusing on them, oh, they're way out of everyone's price range. No, this is just for the people that have been here a long time, because they bought into these for the same price as these Scarlet and Violet boxes are. I bought into these for cheap. People told me I was mad when I kept buying Evolving Skies when it was $300. They said that it's already had its run. I've missed out. Why would you buy Evolving Skies for $300? Where are those people now? And that's why you need to be very careful in this hobby about listening to negative people. Go on your gut feeling. I knew Evolving Skies was going to be one of the best sets of all time. I didn't expect it to grow this fast and perform this well. No one did, really. Evolving Skies is one of those sets that has outperformed everyone's expectations and continues to as well. It is the set of the era. It is the set of the decade, really. And it will take a lot for anything to fill its boots. So let's do a look at Evolving Skies now. You can see it's shooting up on the price chart now. Last sold, lots of sales around $2,500. We're not going to pay too much attention to any price changes on TCG Player, because once you get a box that is so high in value like that, there's not many sales. So it's better to just look at eBay, and we see what's going on with the eBay prices to last sold. Last sold from yesterday and on an auction as well. So lots of people bidding. So a very fair assessment of its market price here. $2,350. Really positive to see multiple sales now over the $2,000 mark. I personally think that now we're seeing multiple sales way over that 2K mark. It's going to have a pretty easy run up to 2,500. We called at the start of the year that it was going to be a $2,000 box by Christmas. Again, like I said, it outperforms all of my predictions, always, and everyone's predictions, basically. Yeah, way over predictions for the year. It's now at $2,350. It's eye-watering, it really is. I still hold some booster boxes of Evolving Skies. I sold most of mine. I don't regret it, because I rolled that money into other product and it allowed me to increase my collection. But I still hold some. And I had a very interesting conversation less than a year ago with my LCS. Shout outs to you guys if you're watching, you know who you are. That I was tempted to sell another Evolving Skies box, but I said to them that I'll only sell it once it hits £1,000. And now it's way over £1,000 and I'm still not selling it. Maybe we just ride it out. Maybe I'll sell it at 10k. We'll see. Just funny how the market moves. Last sold in the UK, over 2k. Crazy. 2,097. That in US dollars is like a crazy amount. What is that in US dollars? Maybe 2,600, something like that. Maybe more, 2,700. I don't know the exact conversion rate at the moment. But yeah, again, multiple sales over 2k. Let's scroll down, see if we can see another one. Here's another one. Yeah, from the 27th. So 3 days ago, another one over 2k. Really positive to see. Look at this, ETBs now. A single ETB now is going for 414. I actually sold some of these ETBs to a viewer, so I'm sure if you're watching this now, you'll be happy with that investment. That was someone in my join club, actually. I don't mention it often enough, but I do have a join club on YouTube. You can join, you can pay a subscription fee, and I will connect with you on Instagram, and I will answer an unlimited amount of questions. I will be at your beck and call, and we'll just talk. I'll educate you on anything you want to know. I'll help you buy things, recommend what to buy when you've got your money. it's really a service that you get the most out of it if you're planning to buy a lot of sealed over the next year or so anyway, because my justification for it and the price is that I will make you more money than what you spend on the subscription. This subscription is a very small amount, especially if you're spending thousands a year on sealed product. I will make sure I guide you into the best deals, so it basically just pays for itself. So that shout outs to everyone on the Join Club on YouTube, plus it supports me as well. Fusion Strike, we got to talk about Fusion Strike. Fusion Strike is on an absolute tear, it really is. Let's have a look at the prices. We'll let the prices do the talking. Look at this. Last week, 879 on the average. Last sold, 1,000. Not just 1,000. 3 boxes, 4 boxes, 5, 6, 7 boxes, 8 boxes, 9 boxes sold yesterday for $1,000 of Fusion Strike. We're there. We're at the $1,000 Fusion Strike box. Again, we called for $1,000 Fusion Strike by Christmas. Really outperforming. Fusion Strike is doing amazing. It's crazy that it's at $1,000 right now. It really is. Well deserved though. It is a fantastic set. It really is. And I think it will continue to climb up. I've said this quite a lot. $1,000 is a very psychological price point. Lost Origin will struggle to break through 1,000 as well. Once it does though, and you get consistent sales over 1,000, I think it will have a fairly quick and fairly easy run up to the next bit of price resistance, which is around about $1,500. So I just think it's mad that at the start of this channel we were telling people to buy this for retail and they were ignoring us for months and months, and now it's at $1,000. So there you go. Proof is in the pudding, as they say here in the UK. Don't even know what that really means, but we say it here anyway. So $879 to 1,000. So what's that? $121 price rise in 7 days. To $879. So it's up 13.7% over the last 7 days, which is nuts. Just crazy to sit at that $1,000 mark. Last sold in the US, $989.98, $11 off of $1,000, and then there's another one sold yesterday as well for $1,095. With the ETB now going for Pokemon Center ETB going for $330, crazy. Last sold in the UK. 729 quid. Oh my gosh, that's grown so much. It's just shocking because we bought one at the start of the summer here in the UK for like $330, and market then was 300, and I paid 330, like 10% over market to get a minty one, and I'm so glad I did, because what's that extra 30 quid now? Do you know what I mean? I've more than doubled my money. Way more than doubled my money. So I say this a lot to people as well, and it's one of the most important things in sealed. Condition is everything. It really is. It is so worth paying up to 10% over market value to make sure you get a minty one. It is so important because it makes it so much easier to sell on the back end, and you get more for your money. I.e. you get more money for it when you sell it if it's in absolutely mint condition. Lost Origin has had a massive run up in price as well. It's following in the footsteps of Fusion Strike. I think it's undervalued even at this increased price point. Last week it was at 726, now it's at 839. We're just going to do it on the calculator. So it's up $113 over the last 7 days, which is divided by 726, 15.5% price rise on Lost Origin, and I'm still saying it's undervalued. If Fusion Strike is now going for 1,000 a box, and Lost Origin is going for 839, there's no way. I say this all the time, but it's so true. Lost Origin should never be more than $100 behind Fusion Strike. It should never be. It should be at least $900. To be honest, I think both of them should be $1,000 at least. Not in 2 weeks' time, not in a month's time. Now. They are both $1,000 boxes. You can get a discount now on Lost Origin if you've got that kind of money to throw around. Personally, I don't have that kind of money to throw around, but some of you viewers might do. If you hold any of these right now, your Fusion Strike, your Lost Origin, just keep on holding, boys. It ain't finished running yet, I'll tell you. It's going to have a good run. Both of them are. Last sold on eBay US, $839. Last sold on eBay UK, $654. That's gone up a lot. Both at all-time highs. Astral Radiance. Finally, it's going back up in price. I feel so sorry for Astral Radiance. It was the only box of the era that just continued to drop down in price. Over the last couple of months, it just kept dropping down in price, and it's not deserved. I like Astral Radiance, and it's finally going back up a little bit. It's finally found its basement price. So, last week, $869. This week, $401. So it's up like, what, 32? 32 on 869. 3.6%. We will take it. We're just happy to see Astral Radiance in the positive again. And what's really important with some of these things is having historic knowledge on prices. And that's why subscribing is so good. Because it's not just what's going on in the market now. It's about tracking products over time. Because if you look, this is a perfect example. If you look at that Astral Radiance price chart, it looks like it's just crashing down in price. And why would I ever buy that product? It's so unstable, it's just going down in price. But let's zoom out. When you zoom out, you see the full picture. You see a big buyout here at around about April time. Massive buyout here, 35 sold in one day there, 16 sold the next day, 7 sold the day before. Big buyout. That's when the big buyout happened on a lot of Sword and Shield boxes. We saw it on Astral Radiance, Evolving Skies, Fusion Strike, Lost Origin, Brilliant Stars, Silver Tempest. They all went up. There was a massive buyout on all of them. Astral Radiance has just corrected back down to what the price should be. It's still way up on what it was. It's just corrected down to what it should be. That's all. Things just went a little bit mad with the big buyout. And then it's corrected back down to where the true market price is. And to see it now bounce back up, super positive. Super positive. I don't expect it to drop again. If it does drop again, I don't expect it to get cheaper than this like $366. It's out of print Sword and Shield, guys. It's just cheap. $400. I think that's a fair price for it, if not a little bit undervalued. I think that it will sit at around about that $500 mark soon and just hover on $500 for a good couple of months. I think it will struggle to break 500, but I think that's where it should be, really. And I think everyone deep down agrees with that. Brilliant Stars then. Brilliant Stars is having a good run at the moment as well. Last week, $490. This week, $570 with multiple sales at around about the $460 mark. So we're up 80 on, what was it? 490, sorry. On 490. Hang on. Sorry, I've done that wrong. Let's do that again. Right, 490 to 570. So it's up 80. Yeah, 80 on 490. I was right. Up 16.3% on Brilliant Stars. Not much more to say about that, really. Great set. I was going to say brilliant set. Of course it's a brilliant set. It's Brilliant Stars. Yeah. Having a big run up in price. I kind of feel like where Fusion Strike and Lost Origin started to have their run, then it's the next best sets. Now it's the time for Brilliant Stars and Silver Tempest to rise up with that rising tide. Yeah, I think that Brilliant and Silver have more room to grow in the very near future. So over the next month or two, I expect to see them go up a decent amount. I don't know by how much, maybe, well, Brilliant Stars is nearly 600 a box already. 700 a box? And then you see Fusion and Lost Origin jump up to 1200. I could see that happening over the next few months. Last sold in on eBay US, $450. New listing as well, bought out straight away. I think that's a good buy, Brilliant Stars at $450. And it might seem like a lot because it's at an all-time high, but when you look at what else is going on in the Sword and Shield era and the fact all this is out of print, the cards that you get in it, you get the Chase Alt Art Charizard, I think that's undervalued. I think anything under $500 for Silver Tempest or Brilliant Stars is a good buy right now. As long as you're willing to hold it for a little bit. Last sold in the UK, £413. Again, all-time highs, really shooting up there in price. Quick little note, be careful about these Brilliant Stars PC ETBs. I know certainly here in Europe, I don't know if the same was true in the US, it's one of the heaviest printed PC ETBs of all time. It seems like there's just a million of these around. I actually find that the normal version, not the PC ETB, are actually rarer, even though they're obviously cheaper. You just don't see them sold as often. I always see these PC ETBs be sold. But yeah, just something interesting. There you go. There's a normal one. Import from Germany. Interesting. Maybe you don't have many in the US either. Look, even just a little bit of scrolling here. Look, they're all the yellow versions. It's all PC ETBs that are selling. A little bit rarer, these ones. I've actually got one of these. I'm glad I've got it. Very cool thing for the collection. Silver Tempest then. Let's move on. Otherwise, we're going to be here all day. $417 last week. Having a bit of a run as well. $448. So what's that? Brain not braining. We'll just do 14 minus $31. I'm having to use a calculator now. I'm fried. 31 on 414. Silver Tempest up 7.48% over the last week. Really strong. Like I said, still a little bit undervalued, I think, in my opinion. Both Silver Tempest and Brilliant Star should be over $500 a box, in my opinion. 410 last sold on eBay US, and that's an auction too from yesterday. Another auction here going for $430. And there you go. A buy it now from yesterday, right on that $500 mark. So quite a bit over market there, but that's where I place the value on it. I think that if you bought Silver Tempest for $500 now, even paying over market for a nice minty one, I don't think that's a bad buy. Hold that for a couple of years, I think you'll do pretty well out of that. Last sold eBay UK, $455 now. Really going up there in price. New listing as well, so bought out straight away. Obviously, there's a demand for it. I think people are starting to realise now Brilliant and Silver are undervalued. Obviously, because of the Charizard, because of the Lugia. Both really good sets. I think they've got a lot of room to grow. I like to finish off each episode by talking about something a little bit different. Last few weeks I've been going through eBay US and just filtering for Pokemon, brand new, sold listing, and that's it, and just having a look through and seeing what's sold. And today we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about, let's see a zoomed in photo, this beauty right here. This is a 2-pack pin collection blister from the Sun and Moon era, early in the Sun and Moon era. We've got Sun and Moon base and we've got Crimson Invasion. Now, they're not the best packs from the Sun and Moon era. However, I just love this product. I've never seen this sealed product before. And me, I'm a sealed collector. It's not all about the investing for me. I just like buying things that are cool. And this is really nostalgic for me. Even though I've never seen this sealed product before, this was the time that it takes me back to that time when Sun and Moon base came out. And that's when I really started getting into my sealed collecting. I did a little bit at the end of XY with stuff like Evolutions. But I really decided when the Sun and Moon base set was about to come out, I pre-ordered sealed booster boxes of Sun and Moon. You can see them on my Instagram at PokePond1. The photo from that many years ago, I've got a photo of them sealed there. That's when I really decided we're going to give this sealed thing a go. We're going to buy in. It's a new era. We're going to buy into base set. And it just takes me back to that time. And I think that this product is so cool. Like I said, I've never seen it before. They're never going to make this again. It's easy to store because it's flat. You can just put it in a storage box, and it just makes me smile. Someone got it on an auction in the US. It ended yesterday for $30. I think that that is a fantastic price for it. The pack price alone is worth that. If we look at a Sun and Moon base pack, it's going anywhere from $20. There's one going $9. There's one going for $14 with some postage. So, I mean, we're averaging about $15 for a base set Sun and Moon. And for a Crimson Invasion, $22 for a heavy pack. $13 with some postage, so about $15 as well. They're about $15 each for the pack, so to get $30 for this beautiful sealed product that's just rare, unique, you're never going to see it again, and it comes with a pin as well, I think that's cool. And I just wanted to point that out to you guys, that there are cool collectibles out there, and it's not all about the money. It certainly isn't for me. If I was in the US and if I'd have seen that, I would have been bidding on that, and I would have paid a lot more than $30 for that, because that means a lot more to me than just the pack cost involved. The pack cost just justifies the cost for me. It shows that the value is there, and I think that's what determined this auction. The auction was determined by how much value is there in the packs, and I don't think that's fair for a product like this. I think there should be a premium on it, because it's a pin collection. It's not just your standard 3-pack blister or something like that. It's something a little bit special. It's something that you don't see that often. I think that it's lovely, personally. Anyway, I've yapped on for long enough. Make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and you are all lucky in your purchases going forward and finding product. Peace.